Ladies and gentlemen, I want to start with a question. Why is intelligence in women often misunderstood, overlooked, or boxed in? We talk about intelligence like it's just a matter of IQ, degrees, or accolades. But real intelligence, it's something deeper. It's how you think, how you show up, and how you inspire. Highly intelligent women don't just think differently, they live differently. Let me tell you why. They start with why. Highly intelligent women are purpose driven. They don't just do things, they know why they do them. Whether it's leading a team, raising a family, building a business, or walking away from a toxic situation, they begin with purpose. They don't chase approval, they follow meaning. And when you know your why, your how becomes clearer and your what becomes more powerful. They listen more than they speak. There's a quiet power in a woman who observes. Highly intelligent women listen not just to words, but to tone, to silence, to intention. They're not in the room to dominate it. They're in the room to understand it because they know understanding precedes influence. Highly intelligent women live with a deep sense of purpose. They don't move through the world reacting to expectations or chasing validation. They move with intention. Every decision, every boundary, every ambition stems from a clear internal compass, their why. This sense of purpose is what sets them apart. While others may focus on what they do or how they do it, that's the foundation. It's not about performing for applause or meeting external standards. It's about aligning their actions with their core values. This doesn't mean they don't achieve or strive for excellence. Quite the opposite. They often achieve more because their motivation is rooted in meaning. When you're grounded in purpose, you don't need external motivation. You don't burn out chasing everyone else's version of success. You create your own definition. And you pursue it with focus, resilience, and clarity. Highly intelligent women are often the ones willing to walk away from situations that look perfect on the outside but feel misaligned on the inside. That takes courage. It takes strength to say, this isn't right for me, especially when everyone else is telling you it's the dream. But that's the power of knowing your why. It gives you the courage to let go of good things in pursuit of the right things. This sense of purpose also shows up in how they lead others. Whether it's in their families, workplaces, or communities, these women inspire because they don't lead with ego, they lead with intention. They're not trying to impress you, they're trying to impact you. People follow them not because they have the loudest voice, but because they speak with clarity and conviction. They lead from within. And when challenges come, and they always do, it's their purpose that keeps them grounded. They don't crumble at the first sign of failure because they're not doing it for applause. They're doing it because it matters. Purpose creates resilience. It creates direction. And when you know your direction, you don't need a map. You just keep taking the next right step. In a world that constantly tells women to prove themselves, highly intelligent women don't feel the need to prove. They feel called to contribute. That difference is subtle but powerful. It's the shift from seeking approval to living in alignment. And that alignment, it's where their true strength lives. Highly intelligent women understand the value of silence. They listen more than they speak. Not because they lack thoughts or opinions, but because they recognize the power that comes from observing first. Listening for them is not just a passive act. It's a strategy. It's a way to understand the room, read between the lines, and grasp not only what is said, but also what is left unsaid. In every conversation, they are present fully. They're not listening to reply. They're listening to understand. This kind of listening builds trust. It shows empathy. It allows them to connect on a deeper level because people feel heard, seen, and valued in their presence. Highly intelligent women know that being the loudest voice isn't the same as being the most influential one. Influence doesn't come from dominating the conversation. It comes from understanding the people in it. Alongside listening, they are endlessly curious. Highly intelligent women don't pretend to have all the answers. Instead, they ask better questions. They're not afraid to say, I don't know, or tell me more. In fact, they see those moments as opportunities. Their intelligence isn't rooted in arrogance. It's rooted in humility. They recognize that true wisdom often lies in admitting what you don't know and being open enough to learn something new. Curiosity is their superpower. They want to understand how things work, why people think the way they do, and what drives human behavior. This makes them deeply insightful, not just intellectually, but emotionally. They don't just seek knowledge, they seek meaning, and that search makes them incredibly thoughtful in how they speak, act, and lead. Because they listen so well and ask powerful questions, highly intelligent women often notice what others miss. They catch the subtleties in tone, the shifts in mood, the hesitation in someone's voice. They see the bigger picture while paying attention to the smallest details. This emotional intelligence gives them an edge in conversations, relationships, and decision-making. In professional settings, this shows up in how they handle conflict, navigate negotiations, and support their teams. They don't rush to judgment. They don't jump to conclusions. They gather information, understand perspectives, and respond with intention. And because they do, their presence brings clarity and calm. Even in personal relationships, they create space for others to be vulnerable. They don't interrupt. They don't offer advice too quickly. And understand that the legacy they leave is not just in what they achieve, but in what they inspire. It's in the people they help rise, the voices they amplify, the confidence they help build. They don't just lead with their minds, they lead with their hearts. And in doing so, they remind the world of this simple, powerful truth. Real strength is not measured by how many people stand below you, but by how many stand with you. Is the one still learning. Highly intelligent women are deeply intentional about where their energy goes. They understand that time is limited, but energy, that's sacred. It fuels their creativity, focus, and resilience. And so they guard it carefully. They don't say yes to everything. In fact, one of the most powerful habits they cultivate is the ability to say no clearly, confidently, and without guilt. Because they know this truth. Every yes to something meaningless is a no to something important. They are not driven by a fear of missing out or by the pressure to please everyone. Instead, they are guided by a quiet inner knowing. If something doesn't align with their values, if it drains rather than energizes, it's not worth it. That applies to people, projects, environments, and even habits. They are willing to walk away from conversations that lack depth, relationships that feel one-sided, and opportunities that don't serve their growth. This isn't coldness, it's clarity. Saying no doesn't mean they're not generous with their time or attention. On the contrary, they give deeply to the people and causes they care about. But they give from a full cup. They don't run themselves into the ground trying to be everything for everyone. They understand that burnout isn't a badge of honor. It's a signal, and they listen to it. Boundaries for these women are not walls, they're filters. Boundaries help them preserve their peace, protect their passion, and stay connected to their purpose. They recognize that not everyone deserves access to their energy, and not every situation requires their involvement. This discernment helps them move through the world with more intention and less noise. Protecting their energy also means prioritizing rest and stillness. Highly intelligent women don't glorify busy. They know that constant hustle often leads to disconnection from self, from others, and from what really matters. So they pause. They unplug. They take time to reflect, reset, and recenter because they know their best thinking, their most meaningful insights, and their greatest creativity often emerge from stillness, not speed. They also protect their energy by being selective about the content they consume. They're mindful of the conversations they engage in, the media they watch, and the thoughts they entertain. They understand that what you feed your mind shapes how you see the world and yourself. So they choose wisely. They curate an inner environment that supports clarity, confidence, and calm. In a world that constantly demands more, 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 highly intelligent women dare to protect their enough space, enough rest, enough time to think and breathe and simply be. This isn't laziness, it's leadership. It's emotional maturity. It's a deep recognition that sustainable success isn't built on exhaustion, it's built on alignment. Protecting their energy allows them to show up as their fullest, most present selves. Not scattered, not depleted, but focused, grounded, and ready to lead from within. That's not just a habit, it's a superpower. Highly intelligent women are not threatened by the success of others, they're inspired by it. They operate from a mindset of abundance, not scarcity. Instead of asking, how can I be better than her? They ask, how can we rise together? This is one of their most powerful habits. They build others up. They don't view other women as competition. They see them as allies, collaborators, and co-creators of a better world. This habit stems from deep inner security. Because they are rooted in who they are, they don't need to prove themselves by tearing someone else down. They understand that someone else's light doesn't dim their own. In fact, they know that when one woman shines, it creates space for others to shine too. And so they celebrate other women's wins. They lift voices that aren't being heard. They give credit, share opportunities, and open doors because they believe in collective success. You'll often find highly intelligent women mentoring others, even in quiet ways. They don't always make a show of it, but they're there, sending the encouraging text, sharing the helpful resource, giving honest feedback when it's needed. They show up for others not to be seen as kind or generous, but because they truly believe in lifting as they climb. They know that impact is multiplied when you empower others to lead alongside you. They also lead with empathy. When someone is struggling, they don't judge, they extend grace. They know what it feels like to be underestimated, overlooked, or dismissed, and so they go out of their way to make others feel seen. They create spaces where people feel safe to grow, spaces where mistakes aren't punished but used as lessons. That kind of leadership creates loyalty, it creates trust, and it creates communities where everyone feels they belong. This habit of uplifting others also shows up in how they speak. They choose words carefully, not to impress, but to affirm. They don't gossip or diminish others to gain social power. Instead, they speak life into people. They affirm strengths. They give recognition. They acknowledge growth. In doing so, they become catalysts for confidence in others. What makes this habit truly intelligent is its ripple effect. When one woman chooses to uplift, she gives others permission to do the same. A culture of collaboration begins to form. Jealousy fades, comparison weakens. What grows in its place is something far more powerful: sisterhood, support, solidarity. And that's how movements begin. Highly intelligent women, they give people room to speak their truth, and they hold that space with grace. That kind of presence is rare and powerful. It's easy to underestimate the strength that lies in listening and curiosity, but highly intelligent women understand that influence is not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It's the ability to make someone feel truly understood. It's the courage to ask the questions others are afraid to ask. And it's the wisdom to know that often the smartest person in the room